The erosion begins in the quietest way possible, not through any single dramatic event, but through 1,000 minor moments of comfort that slowly curdle into complacency. It's a fundamental shift in perception. When she first has you, your qualities are bright and clear. Your consistency is a relief. Your efforts are noticed and appreciated. But as time solidifies your presence, these very strengths become her new normal. The morning text, the way you remember how she takes her coffee, the dependable shoulder after a hard day, these acts of care transition from being appreciated gifts to expected utilities. They become the background hum of her life, so constant. She forgets they require energy, intention, and choice to maintain. She stops seeing the doing and only sees the done. This numbing effect creates a dangerous illusion of permanence. She begins to operate under the unshakable assumption that you are a fixed point, an unwavering constant that will remain regardless of her own actions or investment. This is where the subtle imbalances take root. It's in the unconscious expectation that your time is less valuable than hers, manifesting as her taking hours to reply while anticipating your immediate response. It's in the mental ledger that assumes you will always be the architect of your shared experiences, planning the dates and initiating the contact, while her role diminishes to simply showing up. Most damagingly, it's in the quiet testing of boundaries, the minor disrespect or emotional carelessness she allows herself. It's not out of malice, but from a place of perceived security. She believes your loyalty is a guarantee, not a choice you actively make every day. This is the anatomy of being taken for granted, the slow, imperceptible transition from valuing a person to simply valuing what they provide, with the person themselves becoming almost invisible in the process. She cannot see your worth reflected in the daily light you provide. She only becomes aware of its source once the room has gone dark. Of course. Here's the expanded version of Chapter 2. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. The initial aftermath of your departure is not characterized by grief, but by a surge of defiant energy. Her ego, wounded by your decision to walk away, mobilizes its defenses with impressive speed. This isn't a time for sadness. It's a time for reclamation. She embraces a curated chaos, flooding the sudden silence you left behind with the noise of friends, the thrill of parties, and the addictive buzz of validation from new, unfamiliar eyes. This period is a performance first and foremost for herself, a desperate attempt to prove the narrative that your absence is not a loss, but an upgrade. She might even catalyze this new chapter with a rebound relationship. A placeholder whose primary function is to serve as living proof that she is still desired, that she has options, that the world is full of men who are eager to take your place. In this loud, crowded space, she feels powerful. She mistakes attention for affection and options for genuine connections. She tells herself she is freer, happier, unshackled from the expectations and routines that defined life with you. This is the illusion of freedom, a brilliant and convincing facade constructed to keep the hollow ache of truth at bay. But the victory is hollow because the replacements are superficial. The new men are spectators, not participants in her inner world. They laugh at her jokes but don't understand the nuance behind them. They compliment her appearance but are blind to the small things that truly matter to her, the specific way she likes her coffee, the telltale sign of a bad day in the set, of her shoulders, the name of her childhood pet. They engage with a version of her, a curated profile, not the complex, messy entirety of her being. They see her as another girl to spend time with, a pleasant diversion, not as a woman worth patiently and deeply investing in. It is in the quiet moment after the party, in the empty space between a text sent and a reply received, that the first crack appears. The comparisons are involuntary and brutal. The laughter here is louder, but feels cheaper. The conversations are exciting, but lack depth. The stark, unadorned truth begins its slow, inevitable seep into her consciousness. The distractions are just that. She has lost the one man who offered something real, of course. Here is the expanded version of Chapter 3. Asterisk, the regret that eventually consumes her is a complex and layered emotion, built not from a single moment of clarity, but from a series of devastating realizations that arrive in relentless waves. Right. Crucial to understand that what she misses is not merely your physical presence or the routine you shared. It is the profound loss of a specific feeling, the irreplaceable sense of being truly seen, valued and cared for by a man of substance. This void cannot be filled by the attention of others because that attention is generic, while what you offered was uniquely tailored to her. The ache begins as a dull throb and crescendos into a piercing awareness of what she carelessly discarded. The first true wave of regret crashes into her with the force of a shattered ego. She encounters evidence of your happiness without her. Social media post where you're genuinely smiling, a mutual friend's casual remark that you're thriving, or an unexpected sighting where you appear calm and content. This image directly contradicts the story she told herself to justify the breakup, that you were the needy one, that your world was smaller, that your value was tied to her presence. Your evident peace and progression without her dismantles that narrative completely, and the collapse of her ego's defense is a profoundly disorienting blow. The second wave is more private, a silent torment that arrives in the lonely hours of the night. It manifests in the compulsive, prideful cycle of typing out a message to you, staring at the words that betray her longing to die, and deleting them in a fit of self-preservation. This internal conflict between the desperate urge to reconnect and the stubborn refusal to admit fault becomes a nightly ritual of anguish, highlighting the deep emptiness where your constant, reliable presence once resided. But the third and most permanent wave is the realization of scarcity. After the superficial glow of new attention fades, she is left with the cold, hard truth. While finding men who desire her is easy, finding a man who truly values her is exceptionally rare. The new options are players who offer fleeting excitement, not partners who offer unwavering commitment, protection, or genuine investment. Understands that she had a man who provided depth in a world of shallow connections, and that this is a commodity not easily found. It's a final understanding that she allowed a rare thing to slip through her fingers is what transforms passing sadness into permanent. As the weight of her regret settles, it seeks an outlet, not in honest confession, but in cautious, calculated testing. Her pride prevents a direct approach, so she communicates through a series of subtle, almost imperceptible probes. A sudden, like on a social media post from years ago, a deliberate viewing of your Instagram story within minutes of you posting it, or a carefully drafted, "How have you been?" text sent after a long, strategic silence. These actions are never accidents. They are meticulously chosen signals designed to gauge your temperature, to see if the door to your attention and emotional energy remains even slightly ajar. She is testing the waters without ever having to get wet, hoping to elicit a response that confirms she still holds some sway over you, that the man she remembers is still within reach. However, a fundamental and irreversible transformation has occurred, one that makes you immune to these tactics. The man who once would have leaped at these breadcrumbs, the man who begged, pleaded, and fought for her validation no longer exists. The profound pain of walking away forced a metamorphosis. In that solitude, you were compelled to confront your own worth independent of her, to rebuild your self-respect from the ground up, and to discover a strength that was previously outsourced to her approval. You have evolved into a stronger, wiser, and more valuable version of yourself. One who can now see her tests not as invitations but as confirmations of your growth. You recognize them for what they truly are, not a callback to what was, but proof positive of her dawning regret. Your greatest and most formidable power in this dynamic is now a calm, unwavering indifference. It is the silent, unassailable evidence that you have not only survived her absence, but have thrived because of it. The realization that you can live a complete, happy, and fulfilling life without her is the revelation that finally shatters her illusion of control and superiority. The very quality she grew numb to, her steadfast availability and emotional presence, has become the exact thing she now craves most desperately, precisely because it is now directed inward, towards your own peace, and is permanently withdrawn. From her, this shift in energy is what truly unravels her, proving that the power was never in the chasing, but in the ability to walk away and never look back. Of course. Here is the expanded version of Chapter 5. Asterisk, 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 by the time her regret crystallizes into a full-blown, inescapable obsession, the window for reconciliation has not just closed. It has been bricked over and sealed shut. Your journey forward has placed you in a different world entirely. One where you are building a new future while she remains psychologically trapped in the past, haunted by the ghost of what she carelessly discarded. The ultimate, most crushing blow to her fragile ego is the sight of you with someone else, the visceral, painful evidence that another woman is now enjoying the love, loyalty, and security she once considered her permanent possession. This sight acts as a brutal mirror, forcing her to confront her own catastrophic error, not as a theory, but as a living, breathing reality happening without her. Her regret now transcends mere loneliness or nostalgia. It becomes a deep existential crisis of survival. In a dating landscape saturated with transient men offering fleeting validation and empty promises, she is forced to confront the horrifying truth that she willingly let go of a rare, permanent one. This realization shakes the very foundation of her self-perception, making her question her own judgment, her worth, and her ability to recognize a good thing when she has it. The haunting question echoes in the silence. If she was capable of losing a man of your caliber, what does that say about her? This internal scrutiny is a burden she must carry indefinitely. The ultimate victory, however, is not her suffering but your profound evolution. Her regret is a monument to your validated worth, but it is a monument you have no interest in visiting. While she is left to endlessly replay memories and dwell on her mistake, you are free. You have proven your value not to her, but to thee, the only person whose opinion ever truly mattered, yourself. The man who once begged for scraps of her attention is gone, forever replaced by a man who knows his immense value and fiercely protects his hard-won peace. The door to that old dynamic is permanently closed, and she is left standing outside, alone with the heavy, permanent lesson of consequence. The one who had the strength to walk away, to heal, and to rebuild without malice, has already won the only war that mattered, the war for his own soul.